is how to write a hymn.
How to write a hymn.
Right?
And even if you're not particularly religious, most people who write hymns.
Well, you know, Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen and the like, they never stopped them using Nick Cave, using you know, religious imagery and biblical references and all that kind of stuff. So, do you want to talk about the first song?
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do a few songs, and the theme is how to write a hymn. But the idea is, it's not like Kumbaya or something like that where it's like obvious. The idea is to write a song like you would see with Dylan or someone else, you know, that basically the words come up and they mean things. It's a song I wrote about, I don't know, 30 years ago. It's called Leaving Jerusalem. And how it came about, I was watching TV one night, which is, you know, I wrote most of my songs just watching TV, and I see something on the telly and I write a song, you know. It's just a train. It's a train. It's like when they first invented like film cameras, and it's a train coming out of a station, and it's just called Leaving Jerusalem, like a few seconds of a film. And I thought, well, there's a title.
There's a song there.
There's a song, Leaving Jerusalem. And then the next thing was to mix in the scenes of Robert Kennedy getting shot. What else? Garden of Gethsemane.
Yeah. So you've got, 3 verses? So the first verse kind of describes what you saw in the film.
Yeah. But what happens is just like the old poem, the Dream of the Rood, where the cross is talking. So the first part of the song, I'm just the things. I'm the inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Second part, Gethsemane Garden. Third part, Robert Kennedy. That's how to write him. And then of course you start in C, because you know.
Why not?
2, 3, 4. I was lipstick, I was cargo, I had other things on my mind. White-legged passengers, smoking cigarettes, steel wheels rolling on the line. I heard footsteps, I heard whispers, I didn't see you, babe, I didn't have time. And sister, I was leaving Jerusalem, bleeding on Palestine. I was awakened, I was mistaken, I thought man could not be so cruel, like my brother before me, they could not ignore me. Oh, brother, I was a fool. I heard gunshots and I saw tears drop. I heard a young woman even cry. And sister, I was leaving Jerusalem, leaving on Palestine. How many among you walk that red line to the end down by the seashore? The body muscle, fresh and salty, while the wind blew the bear on the door. These were my last thoughts, my last words. Yes, babe, I knew it was my time. And sister, I was leaving Jerusalem, leaving on Palestine. Oh, and sister, I was leaving Jerusalem, leaving on Palestine. This is the other thing
Mary
too.
Magdalene.
There's always these 3 Marys, and then of course with Robert and with the other Kennedy, John F. There's Marilyn Monroe. So it mixes, and the thing is, I mean, it's a thing. It's kind of you'll see Andy Warhol do it, or you'll see people do it, where they'll just get like, I mean, Andy Warhol, he's got the Last Supper, and he's got the Camel cigarettes, and he's got things. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing. I mean, we're dealing with the modern world, so, you know, I mean, we're not walking around in sandals.
No, but the stories never changed.
I mean, there wasn't any trains back then.
No, I know, but the stories never, the central
You see, the idea
never
is that,
changed.
and then of course you do it all in,
There's one story.
It's in 3 minutes, and you got to get all of this into a song. And typically when I write a song, it's written in 1 second, probably, or less than a second, and then it takes me 3 minutes to finish the song. Words and music, that's it. And I've never done it any other way. I've never spent any time on the song. I've written 2,000 songs, probably because of that, you know. It's like, it takes a few, the song is there, and I write really quick, you know, so it's like 3 minutes, it's done. I wrote a song when I was 15, I think, and it was terrible. And I thought, no.
Never again.
No, see, no, when I was a kid, I started out writing poetry, and that was good.
Yeah.
I liked the poetry, and it was good, and I wrote poetry. I even won prizes, and it was good, and everything rhymed. Again, it just took a few seconds. And I seen bands on the telly, and I thought, oh, good, that's the thing, I'll do that, you know. And I went to my brother-in-law, they're all musicians, Tommy, and I said, well, what's a chord, you know? And he said, any 2 notes is a chord. And I thought, oh, good, you know. And then I said to my brother Alan, I said, I'm going to put a band together. And he said, what are you going to play? And I said, oh, bass, it's the easiest thing, I'll play bass. Then I'll write the songs, and I'll get someone else to play guitar and sing and all of that. And when I came home that evening, there was a bass and an amp in my bedroom, you know. So and I was 15. So I was playing within weeks. So yeah, I don't know, good, you know, what's good?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I wrote one bad song. Another thing with writing a hymn is what I always do is I just imagine some nice old lady in a church doing like the, you know, little church.
The organ.
The organ, you know, the organ, and just, you know, going at it, but not like a professional, not like a mad, like a Bach or something, but just that, you know, that clumsy, awkward, heaving thing that, you know, normal people can do.
I can do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Clumsy.
Because, I mean, let's face it, most of us are hacks, you know, and being a hack is the best thing in the world. I mean, there's way too many virtuosos.
Yeah.
I mean, there's better guitar players in selling guitars than playing them, you know. But us normal people, we do amazing things with very little. We have very little, and we do good things.
All our favourite people are.
Yeah.
Basically, you know.
It's like Mick Jagger, he can't sing, and he's still doing it.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, that's encouraging too, because, you know, you think, well, he can't sing, so I'll sing.
Well, it's like you saw
That's great.
musicians on the stage that stuff. Fuck it, I could do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I used to love Queen when I was a kid, but it depressed me.
Yeah.
You know, I think Freddie, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Or Brian, you know, the bass player.
But
was
then
amazing.
punk came along.
And then punk came along, and it kind of, it brought us back to like Eddie Cochran and Gene Vincent and people who are fairly ordinary, you know, carpenters and builders and mechanics who play guitar on the weekend, and you know.
And then there's the Carpenters.
And the actual carpenters. you know, sometimes you have a dream, and you hear a great song in the dream, and you think, oh God, I wish I wrote that song. I wish I wrote it, because then you wake up the next day and you think, I forgot it, I don't know how it goes, I can't do anything about that at all. Well, this time I had this dream. The minute I told myself in the dream, wake up and write it down. So I did. I got up at like 2 a.m. or something. Words and music, most of it's from the dream, and then the other bits are about, it's from the dream. I crashed the bike and went straight into the Liffey. And in the Liffey was all these young women, all wearing white, standing there, and it was low tide. They're all just standing there. And
Now, everyone.
yeah, they're all wearing white, like, you know, like white gowns. Anyway, they all started telling me stuff. And I said, no, it's rubbish, you know. crazy girls telling me things. Anyway, then a vision of Mary turned up in the dream, or just turned up in the dream. And she wrote the chorus of the song. And the girls wrote the verse, and I wrote the intro. And,
So what's the central thing?
and these guys don't even know it. I think we played it once today.
Yeah, it would be alright.
That's the whole story.
Well, let's listen to it. Listen out for the lyrics, and we can talk about it after as well.
Yeah. Okay, so there's an example of, again, dreams, you know, and the dream of the root. The same thing, you become the things. The guy in the dream, the man, you know, he's a smart arse, you know, he just doesn't know anything. And that's me on the bike into the leafy. That's song 2 of How to Write a Hymn. Song 3, you know, we're not going to leave our Protestant brothers out of this.
Oh, no. What are you looking at me for?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. No, the rock and roll, a lot of rock and roll,
yeah.
It comes from the Baptists.
Yeah, what is that called?
Yeah, the Great Awakening.
Great Awakening.
Great Awakening, the preacher. The idea that you know, the preacher just goes mad and, there's just snakes, everything, whatever.
30,000 denominations or something. I've got to. But what's the? Yeah, you were telling me about the snake churches. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, snake churches where, like, they're so, like, they get, like, loads of snakes and do preach
Oh,
and
I've
stuff.
seen those.
Yeah.
YouTube videos.
And, great movies like Wise Blood and all of that. You got what they had, the Church of Jesus Christ without Jesus Christ or something.
Yeah.
So you get, whereas rock and roll, because, my favourite artist is Jerry Lee and, of course, The King and, different people like that. And they're from that tradition.
And the Louvin brothers?
The Louvin brothers, they're good. And, he was their producer.
Oh, Chet Atkins.
Chet Atkins. Okay, this song came about. I got a new Telecaster a few years back. A new Telecaster. Tuned it up and wrote this song in a couple of minutes. That was it.
It's a very simple song. So what does he do? He's a man. He's a rock and roll man.
He's a rock and roll man.
Does he die?
He's gonna die.
Right, but then he's still rocking.
He's rocking. What it's doing is this is creating the idea that when you die, you don't die.
The everlasting rock and roll
The
man.
everlasting rock and roll man. And that's what he is. He's not just like a rock and roll man for now.
He's everlasting.
Like Elvis or something. He's everlasting to us, but then for himself, he might be everlasting, and God knows, we don't know. So here it is. Because that's the only thing you really need.
Guitars, right?
Yeah. Once you've had your dinner,
Yeah.
you know,
Once you're clothed and fed, then it's guitars.
after that it's
Next
just
logical
guitars.
conclusion. All right, I've got a question. What do you think? What do you think's important for songwriters to keep in mind, and in terms of their mental well-being, besides just actually
Well,
subsisting and existing?
I just think you don't get to write. It's like, you know, if you write a lot of songs, you're not going to be normal. You won't be normal. You don't get to write a lot of songs and be normal. It's just because what happens is you're touching God, you know, and that's it. You're putting your hand in the socket, and you don't come back from that. You get to be normal enough. I mean, you can like food and guitars, but the thing is just a song. Music is the highest thing a man can do. That's it. There's nothing higher. Nothing. That's it. And when you do that, this is why a lot of our poor fellas, they just die.
Yeah.
Or something, or take drugs, or go crazy, or whatever. But
Is it a thing about being too intelligent or something?
no, it's not. No.
Don't worry.
No, the thing is,
So you say this is a Mensa meeting?
no, there's people who are too intelligent to go crazy too. But this is a different thing. This is yeah, you're just mainlining, you know,
The ether.
the ether, and that's it. And that's why it goes through the waves. It goes to people, and then it's not.
So what do you do? How do you stop
how do
going
you?
crazy?
Oh, how do you stop yourself?
Well, I mean,
it's like
within reason.
Salvador Dali said the artist's only responsibility is to not go crazy. That's how seriously he took it. He just said, well, that's your main job is to not go crazy.
And I suppose by crazy he means unfunctioning.
Not functioning. You gotta function. You gotta cut your nails. You know, you gotta have showers. Carry yourself. You only do that in the world, and don't make too many mistakes. But the most of you is going to be taken care of by the fact of what you're doing. Like, for example, if I won't get on an aeroplane without a guitar, because I think God will think I'm just some idiot that he can kill. You know?
No, guitar.
A friend of mine, he was here visiting, an old rocker he was visiting, and he said, I'm going to Spain for a couple of weeks for a holiday, you know. And I said, well, bring your guitar. And you know, he said, oh yeah, I should, you know. And he says, I'm not going to bring my guitar. And I said, bring a harmonica, bring something. Because
Bring evidence of
God takes care of poets. And that's why we're all still here. God takes care of poets, and if you go on your holidays without your guitar, you might think you're just some guy or a quick. I've only ever written quick. One time George Harrison asked John Lennon, he said, well, what's a good method of writing songs? What do? You know? Because, you know, George was getting into the songwriting and John had already written a bunch of songs. And John Lennon said to him, write it quick. And he says, if you haven't finished it, don't finish it. You've lost it. You don't have a song anymore. Now, that's not craft. Craft is a different thing. You can spend weeks on a poem or a song or whatever. That's called craft. But mainlining it is quick. Because the thing comes in a second, less than a second. You have to work really quick to get it down. You might have to, I mean, if you put too many ifs and buts in the wrong place or repeated silly words, you might be able to tidy it up. But other than that, it's quick. Because there's songs. We're not making buildings. You're not making bridges. You know, it's a song.
And I thought,
that
was just applied intelligence.
Well, you see, that's a different thing again. That's a producer's mind. Like a producer.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us songwriters are producers too. So a producer's mind can say, okay, I've got the song finished, but then you might say, oh, wait a minute, let's start with them. And you know, another example, George Martin would get the Beatles in some songs, start with the chorus, don't start with the verse. You know, that's a producer's mind. And they could have said no, but because he's a senior guy and he knows his stuff, they say, hey, yeah. And so I'm kind of not talking about that. So that's a good point. Like, I'll write a song and Rohan will say, you know what? You know, instead of playing that chord there, and it's the same key basically, he says, let's put this nice little chord that I know will go there, and I'll go, oh, give it a go. So the song is kind of, what I mean by it's finished for all intents and purposes. Other people coming in later, you might come back yourself, and you go, oh God, you know, like people sometimes they think it's too long, right? You might write a song that's too long. And you might think, well, like for most gigs, I'm not going to do all of those verses. I might do it for a special gig or an album track. And for the single, I'll do. So that's more the producer's mind.
But I think it's natural to have a healthy chauvinism about what you've created. Because, you know, you can't just get steamrolled by any other thing. And that's what you've got to be really careful, especially we find with working a lot of artists in production, is sharing songs, especially with kind of close friends and family. Because sometimes, whether they do it or not, or it's just a little demon in them or something, or an insecurity in them, they can be very hurtful.
You're actually better off showing a song to someone who doesn't know you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who
And
has
also,
no preconceived notion of what you're supposed to be.
Yes.
Because they're the people who will actually give an honest opinion.
and senior people with experience.
Yeah, if you're
What's-
more,
what-
like, is imagery important to you when you're writing a song?
Yeah. You see, the
imagery
thing
and metaphor.
Yeah. The thing is, words on a page. Well, this is what I felt like when I was a kid. I was a poet, so I'm dealing with words on a page, and I'm reading all the poems, and that was great because I'm just making up my own things out of it, and it's great. But with music, because it's a vibration and it has a voice and it has tempos and it has all of that, that's an opportunity to create, even without words, emotion. And you know, I mean, there's a set amount of emotions, but there's basically three. You know, there's
Well, the three types of
there's
songs.
sadness, joy, and then calmness, and you know, chill, and then all the rest are in between there. And then there's the crazy ones, the outliers. They're fine too, you know. So music is and sound. Sound is the opportunity to bring the emotion. Your voice you can strain your voice just like you can strain a violin, and you strain everything to create, you know, whatever emotion you can, and whatever the idea is. It's like comedians; they'll have a comedic voice as they're saying things. Singers usually have an emotional thing. Of those emotions, joy, peace, and the other one, what is it?
What was it? The three. This is Brand law you're talking about, is it?
Well, in Brand law, that's what protected the poets, those laws, and they would protect the poets in terms of
Their stature in the society.
In society. It doesn't exist anymore. That's why we're all treated like ourselves. But in our minds, it exists.
Well, in reality, it
well, in
exists.
reality, it exists. But you know, reality doesn't match up with the other
Reality.
reality.
Yeah.
What happens
And
is,
so you've read a lot, and you've absorbed a lot. So
Yeah.
would you say it's important to have a very good understanding of the...
Oh, look,
so
sure.
that when the
Yeah,
inspiration comes, it's got something to illustrate or grab onto.
Yeah, put it this way, if you want to write songs that you like and other people like, you've got to read the Vedas, you've got to read the Bible, Old and New Testament, you've got to read
The Tao.
a lot of psychology, you've got to read the Tao, you've got to read Freud, you've got to read Jung. Don't take Freud too seriously, but read it. And again, don't take the Vedas too seriously, you've got to read it. Ramayana, everything. You've got to read it, you've got to read everything. And you've got to read the oldest books in the world. Forget new books. There are no new books. Just read all the old books.
Yeah. So
Stop from
grab
about
it, you know?
500 years ago. You know, before, you know, if you read those books, you'll have plenty of. What'll happen is
Except for the
when the inspiration hits you, you'll have the
language.
vocabulary
Yeah.
to use in that. And when I say Freud and Jung, I'm actually more talking about Aristotle and Plato.
Yeah.
Because that's all they're doing, you know. So, but you know, a lot of and you know, for a laugh, you could read the humanist stuff, because that can be used as a
Foil.
foil
Yeah.
in music, and I use that as a foil. So you read Voltaire and as well, you know, just so you've got Hegel.
Hegel
Or
and
something. You
Kant
can read
and
that
stuff,
too,
yeah.
and Kant, if you can bear it, you know. But when you're young, if you do it, then you can get over it. Spend the rest of your life getting over the fact that you've read Kant. You know what I mean? But if you read the old books, then whenever and watch telly, watch movies, they're great, because the thing about old books, not new movies, but movies from the 50s and 60s and all the way back to when they first started, you know, what they do is often directors, really good ones, they get all of that great stuff and they'll put it in an hour and a half. So for like, you know, for dummies, and you're just sitting there going, wow, this is fucking great. It's all in an hour. I've just only spent an hour and a half, and I know loads of new words.
Yeah.
And see, I like that you're looking for when you're writing your song, you got it there, you got it. I want people to go, I like that. I want DJs to go, I like it too. It's not bad.
And that's it, and you're saying even if a song was on the radio and people don't like it and you want, say, a DJ or someone to like your song, would you recommend then that someone who wants to seriously make it in industry, that you should try to develop a thick skin, because there's probably going to be some...
Look, I always say to people, you want to play music, you got to like two things. You got to like music, and you got to like beans on toast. Because you're going to be doing a lot of music and a lot of beans on toast. That's it. I can't tell anyone anything else. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I used to say to people, you know, like, you know, people would try and get me to do music things for money or something, or do this thing, do that thing. And I just say, look, if I want money, I'll go paint a house.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm doing this because it's, you know, and if it makes money, good. If it doesn't, so what? What the hell would I do with money? What the hell would I do with it? Like, really? I mean, you know, really what?
I don't know, more guitars.
I got no debts, I got no problems, you know. More guitars. I've been rich, broke, up, down, rich, broke, I don't, you know. But I never noticed it.
Yeah.
I never noticed any difference.
Yeah.
First time I was on the television, you know, I was a kid, I was 18, I turned on the television Saturday morning. I didn't even know I was going to be on. I was just watching a pop show on the television, pop music, you know, and I'm eating rice bubbles in my underpants, and I'm just looking at it, and I come on the television. I say, oh, that's right, the thing we did. There it is, you know. First thing I did is I walked over to it and turned it off, because I thought, I'm here, I'm not on the television, you know, and it was a weird thing. And then I thought, but just because I turned that off doesn't mean everyone else turned it off. So I turned it back on and watched the rest of the show. But you know, like, these things do not make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah, but you've often said fame is an unfortunate
yeah, byproduct
byproduct
of success.
of succeeding.
So if you succeed in music, you will get famous. Fame's a pain in the arse. It doesn't do anyone any good. You know, I can't even go on the internet. I'm not on the internet. I don't have a phone. I don't have anything. You know, just the only way to see me is to see me. I don't have a phone. Don't have the internet. Don't have a wallet.
Well, listen, we
Yeah. So
better,
anyway, thanks very much for listening, and great to see so many great songwriters here.